Yes, guys, how are we doing? So today I want to break down a massive myth and a massive belief system that you must have loads of followers in order to create an incredible business. I have worked with and still do some of the biggest content creators, right? And they have 100% benefited their business. But I've also worked with a lot of other content creators who have built out really big profiles, but then they've not actually benefited the business. It is so important to get the personal brand side right and also understand that it does not just take followers. If you have more followers, have you got more opportunities? Yeah, 100%. Do you always need to go down the route of building out more engagement, more views, more followers? Yeah, 100%. But you must get the personal brand right side. And that is what I'm going to basically be going over in so much detail today, covering format, structures, how to build more trust and connection, viral reel formulas from hijacking Poppy AI for my current creators, what to do in terms of engagement multiplication. We're going to be covering absolutely everything. And just as a starting point, I built a 7-figure company on 14,000 Instagram followers and 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I actually had a 7-figure company way before I had 14,000 followers. So does it all come down to followers when it comes to building a business? Absolutely not. Not in any way, shape or form. Is it going to help? Yeah, but we're going to learn a hell of a lot about this today. So the first thing that you got to look at when it comes to building a strong personal brand is identity and positioning, right? What do you actually stand for? What problems do you solve? And who do you solve that specifically for, right? It will make you clear. It will make you memorable. So when you're looking at your belief systems, your experiences and your opinions, you need to have that on social media because people need to know where you stand compared to other people. People need to know exactly what problem you are going to solve for them. So it's all right getting a viral reel and getting loads of followers off the back of it. But if people have no idea what problem you're going to solve for them, you're not actually going to make any money off it. And then from that point, if you're not actually speaking directly to a specifically type of person, then you're not going to get interactions, you're not going to get applications, and you're not going to get a response because you could be just creating content generically. So identity and position is the single most important place to start. And I see this a lot where people come and they want a viral reel formula, but they don't even know who they are as a person. And who they are as a person isn't actually even on social media. So that's the first place you need to start. And then you start by making sure that you've actually got a story, right? You've got an origin story. Do your audience and does your social media following actually know where you came from? What actually got you from A to B? What have you actually had to go through as part of your own transformation to get from A to B? And most importantly, with the origin story and previous experience that you've had to then going into the transformation that you've been through, what type of clients and what type of people have you actually supported in the same process? Because if you start building a storyline, you'll have more connection, more credibility. And it's so important. If people do not know you or the real you, or they don't feel connected to you, then again, we're going to be lacking interactions, lacking comments and lacking action. If people are bought into you, your values and your story, you can have a much greater chance of actually earning money off the back of it. You've then got the actual experience that people go through when consuming your content. So you've got the EEE framework, which is really, really easy to understand. Educate, inspire, entertain, convert, right? So what we've got to make sure that doing is actually providing value. But while we're providing value, we've got to make sure that we're creating content in a way that is actually entertaining for people in terms of different environments, different props, different visual structures. And I'm going to walk you through a viral Poppy AI format in a minute with content creators that I've supported, and basically everyone's running the same format. And then you're most importantly to make sure that you're actually creating action and interaction. So ask yourself at the moment, am I actually directly creating educational value for my audience? Am I inspiring them and motivating them and talking to them in a sense that they will want to change? Am I actually creating content that is entertaining and enjoyable for people to watch? And then from that point, am I asking questions, promoting interactions, and getting people to actually create some form of action from what they're actually creating? And it all comes back down to just looking at your content in the last 30 days. How many of those key points are you hitting? Because you need to go out of your way to try and actually make that experience happen in every single post that you put out. You've then got your visual identity. So if you looked at some of the top content creators within your space, I can guarantee you they've found 1 or 2 or 3 styles of content that they're just rinsing on repeat. It'll be a very similar reel format, a very similar carousel format, right? At the start, when you're going through the process, you're going to have to rotate different creators and different formats and different structures. There's basically a continuous process. It's never ending. But as soon as you find that format that works, or you look at someone else's account and find a format that's working, and look at how you can hijack that creative, then it means you can just rinse and repeat that same type of format. But it looks in terms of when you've got a personal brand, it's about consistency. It's about people recognizing, oh, that reel, that's that person, or that text, that's that person, oh, that color, or that carousel format. Think about how you can basically find what actually works and then rinse it. It's as simple as that. If you have a certain type of carousel that performs better than other carousels, go in line with a one which has clearly performed well. If you have a reel which goes better in line with other people's and other things that you've done, then again, you just go in line with that. And over time, when you start rinsing these similar creatives, you start to become known for an actual visual identity in a certain content style. You've also got to make sure that in this process, you are continuously showcasing authority, proof, and association. So association can come from pictures with clients. It can come from collaborating images with other people. It can be hosting a podcast or going onto a podcast or going onto an event. How can you actually show authority? But on top of that, it's making sure that you've got a process where you're extracting client wins and posting it. You've got client results, either old or new, coming through. You've got client case studies, client feedback, client images. And even if you're in a situation at the moment where you potentially don't have much of that, but you've got some clients showing client activity, you'll struggle to build a strong personal brand if people don't actually see you working with other people that are similar to them. So anything that is directly showing what you are actively doing with those clients and the results and outcomes that they're experiencing is going to go a really long way to building out a stronger personal brand. So what you've got to do from that point is think, how do I actually put this together? So the first thing that I like to do when it comes to maintaining a content production system is assigning time to be able to do it. If you're currently waking up every single day and reacting, putting a carousel together, putting a reel together, and it's not scheduled into your diary, you're going to easily get to a point where you're just throwing shit out there or something will come up. So what I like to try and do with myself and also with clients is to time block this into 3 different areas. You have one time block every single day or every single week, which is focusing on ideation alone. Don't script, don't do captions, don't film, don't do anything. What is the actual idea? What is the title? What is the hook? What is the analogy? How am I going to visually present this? So your ideation is so important because that makes everything else easier from that point. Once you have then got all your ideas together, that's when you can start formatting into scripts and into captions. And then you've got another time block, which is looking at filming, creating, and editing. So if you don't currently have this time blocked into your day or your week, then it's the first place that you need to start even before you actually start looking at planning. A personal brand is built from consistency. It's built from coming up with good ideas. If this is not booked into your diary, you're just never going to get it done. The next thing that I recommend for people from that point is making it easy for yourself. Stick to a 7-day rotational format and then review it and adjust it on a week-to-week basis. So for example, Monday, maybe a talking reel on topic area 1. Tuesday, maybe a written carousel on topic area 3. Wednesday, maybe a talking reel on topic area 3. Thursday, maybe an image carousel, which is social proof. Friday, back to talking reel on the same topic again. And then Saturday, coming into some BTS image and then image carousels. Find what works for you. So it might be on a Tuesday, you do a nutrition analogy reel, or on a Monday, you do an offer analogy reel, or a case study analogy reel, or it may be something as a visual demonstration that you're doing within your offer and your business. But stick to this 7-day rotational format so you know that the only thing that you need to do is make sure that you've got plenty of ideas, a 7-day format to stick to, plenty of scripts and captions around that 7-day format, and then from that point, once you've got your 7-day format, your ideas, your scripts, your captions, then all you've got to do is then film, edit, and create, and it's as simple as that. But if you don't have a system for looking at how you're managing your socials, things will break down really quickly. The next thing that you've got to look at from that point is actually having a monthly behind the scenes bank. So I would recommend that you book in 4 to 5 hours into your diary every single month where the only thing you do is get a hell of a lot of images and a hell of a lot of BTS. So you can put voiceovers together, you can put images and videos overlaying onto talking reels. So this could be walking, it could be working, it could be your different environments that you're in, different scenes, different angles, different routines, different topics, your personal life, your professional life. So you've got a bank of content that you can dip into every single day for putting these reels together. And once you've got that bank, your life is going to be 10 times easier from that point. So one thing I'm going to show you now is a viral reel formula. So as part of my job with my one-to-one clients, I will basically create boards and hijack people's content, right? In essence, and this is what Poppy AI basically enables you to do. So as you can basically see, there's probably, I don't know, over 100 reels there. If I then went on to someone else's down here, so if I then went on to Adam's, which again, just to show you hundreds of reels I have basically pulled through and looked at hijacking different content ideas, right? So that's what Poppy AI does. I can genuinely promise you it comes out with this same type of overview structure every single time, without question. So you've got a hook, right, which is capturing attention. But before you've got a hook, you've got this, an analogy, and then a visual example on how to explain that analogy. Look at a lot of content creators out there, they're all doing the same thing. It's got a different script with a different visual demo, or a different script with a different scene or a different transition, but they're explaining a topic in an unusual and different way, which is also easy for someone to understand. So you've got hook, which is then capturing the attention alongside showing a visual demo or something in the video. You've then got script line one, where you're establishing the context of the pain with a visual demo. Script line two, building curiosity and introducing the gap, another visual demo. Script line 3, brief solution with visual demo. Script line 4, showcasing credibility or using a follow CTA or a little bit of background on yourself. Script line is then going to present the emotional outcome benefit. And then you've got script line 6, where you've got a key actionable and call to action. So all of those reels all have that same type of format. Analogy, visual props, way to present it, and then all what they've done from that point is found what's worked and then just rinsed and repeated it going through. So you've also got content hijacking, and I'm going to jump to this next slide. So this is one of my clients, when you can see me saying, what the fuck is that the same one? So again, this reel, within the first few weeks, I was like, look, what I want you to do is I want you to look at people who are in a similar space to you, creating similar content. And when you see a creative that you think that you could put together, put a spin on it and use it within your offer and your niche. A few days later, that reel there has got over 1 million views and is going to get a substantial amount of followers that you can be speaking to from that point, right? That's what content hijacking is. So again, after working with all of these different content creators out there, I can promise you they're all doing this. So they all do it to each other. They all tell me. So they'll have different people's Instagrams that they're looking at and thinking, oh, that's a really good topic, or that's a good idea. How can I spin the creative? Or that's a really good creative. How can I spin the topic and the visual demo? People are looking at what is performing well elsewhere and then just engaging and multiplying on top of it. So it's the same as you. When you get a reel that works on your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever it may be, the first thing that you need to do is double down on that. So with this one here, the first thing that I said to Pete in this situation is I said, right, I want you to replicate the exact same creative but do something different in the bottom video, which is a little bit more abrupt and abrasive so it stands out even more. So as soon as you find something that works, you just double down on it even more, right? It's not rocket science. So find top 3 content creators who are doing similar to you, right? Look at the creative, the formats, and create new topic ideas and replace different formats and just look at compounding on what is clearly working elsewhere, right? So rather than just guessing and hoping that something's going to work, look at engagement multiplications of similar styles and go from there. So a personal brand 101, a personal brand isn't built on one viral reel in any way, shape or form. A strong personal brand isn't built on a few weeks or months or even years sometimes. It's how you show up every single day on social media, right? And it's important to understand that you will not be everyone's cup of tea. Right? So in terms of recap, your identity and positioning is the first thing that you need to focus on. You then need to make sure that you've got your own story and client stories coming through onto socials. You need to really consider the experience of educate, inspire, entertain, and also create a point of conversion and call to action. You need to make sure that you've got consistent visual identity rather than chopping and changing things up all the time. You need to make sure that you've got authority, social proof, and association to show client activity who you're working with. Find an easy system for how you can actually stick to creating content on social media. Look at creating a static 7-day rotational format, an easy monthly time block for building out your BTS bank, and then you've got a viral reel structure there, which again I've used with different content creators across the board. Content hijacking, looking at how you can basically look at what's working well elsewhere, and then you've got simple personal brand building 101. So again, this is all of the type of stuff like you can see that with Poppy AI and AI and all of this type of stuff. So is the reason that I use AI. So when it comes to creating a static day format or creating topic ideas or creating scripts or creating captions, it's all effortlessly. I have over 400 proprietary GOAT prompts, how to train your own AI systems. But most importantly, the reason that I get people to do this is it takes away all the time. So all you can do is focus on the ideation, the analogy, the visual creative, and the stuff what really actually makes personal brands move and really makes content move. So if you are interested in seeing what we do at the Coach Consultant with the AI powered smart scaling system, and we work with coaches, consultants, service providers across personal branding, acquisition, sales, operations, you name it, we cover the absolute job lot. And if you do want to jump on a call, scan that QR code and I'll see you on the other side, hopefully.